Hi, everybody. Welcome into this late edition of Fox 5 News. President Biden presenting a picture of the nation on the rebound and making solid progress, especially with the economy during his State of the Union address. You saw it right here on Fox 5. Tom Fitzgerald's been live on Capitol Hill all evening long, but we know, Fitz, President making a speech in front of a very divided Congress.
Yeah, and the president was trying to walk a tightrope here tonight, Jim, clearly. On the one hand, the White House has this data that has come out on the economy recently. Jobs are in good shape. Unemployment is down and prices are falling. But clearly, Jim, you talk to people at stores, they're not happy about where prices are right now. Anybody who's been to a grocery store lately knows that. The president was trying to really tell two stories at the same time, and it's going to be up to the American people whether they buy what the president was selling today.
All right, so when we talk about the economy, let's listen to what the president said. Clearly, there's a record that he's trying to, a case that he's trying to make the American people. Let's listen in.
My economic plan is about investing in places and people that have been forgotten. So many of you listening to me tonight, I know you feel it. So many of you felt like you've just simply been forgotten. Amid the economic upheaval of the past 4 decades, too many people have been left behind and treated like they're invisible. Maybe that's you watching from home. Remember the jobs that went away. You remember them, don't you? The folks at home remember them. You wonder whether the path even exists anymore for your children to get ahead without having to move away. Well, that's why I get that. That's why we're building an economy where no one's left behind.
So clearly, we mentioned that split crowd out there where you have the Republicans in control of the Senate, or the House, rather, Democrats in control of the House. What, those messages, how were they received? I think it was a predictable response.
Yeah, but, in large ways, Jim, it shows you the gap between the goals of a speech like this and the reality. The president in the White House, all presidents in the White House, build in these applause lines that are generated to get both sides of the Congress to stand up and applaud. However, when you delve into things where there were catcalls on both sides, things like this, billionaire tax hike that came up, and also talking about whether or not Republicans wanted to cut Social Security and Medicare, that's when you started kind of hearing more of the back and forth, and really that is where the reality lies here tonight. These words about coming together, these words about partisanship, they will remain just that, words, if both of these sides remain locked in disagreement, like at times they were this evening, and it was on display, and they aren't able to produce anything. And remember, it seems ridiculous to say we're entering a very political season right now, Jim, but we are. There's a presidential race that's about to let loose control. The Congress is going to be up at hand in another 2 years, so we are in for some very choppy political waters from right now for the next 2 years.
When President Biden ran and when he was elected, his campaign sold his presidency as somebody who could reach across party lines, somebody who's been through the process before. This is what he had to say about bipartisanship.
I think the people sent us a clear message. Fighting for the sake of fighting, power for the sake of power, conflict for the sake of conflict gets us nowhere. That's always been my vision of our country, and I know it's many of yours. To restore the soul of this nation, to rebuild the backbone of America, America's middle class, and to unite the country. We've been sent here to finish the job, in my view.
You were out there at Statuary Hall, obviously before the speech, but after the speech, getting some reaction. Yeah. What did you hear out there?
What people are saying is that if parts of this speech sounded familiar, Jim, because they were. Things like you just heard the president say, the backbone of America, the soul of America. These were tent poles of the things that the president said when he was running for the presidency 2 years ago. And you can bet your bottom dollar they're going to be what you hear over the next 2 years as he is on perhaps the verge of announcing this re-election. The bottom line is this, Jim. If they say these things publicly, that they are going to try to work on these things, we're going to have to see results to really judge whether this speech tonight did its job. I think we have this, Jim. We asked D.C.'s delegate, Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton. She's heard many of these speeches over the years. Every year she comes here, she takes notes on what she hears. And I asked her flat out, I'm not going to ask you a question. Go over your notes. Is this going to help or hurt the President of the United States? Let's roll for you what she said about this.
this speech is going to help him. Because with his numbers so low, he was able to talk about unemployment at a 50-year low. Why didn't people understand that? Fastest growth in 40 years? That'll bring his numbers up. Gas, food, down. And he did talk about bipartisan work in the first 2 years. And we needed to hear that what he had accomplished, he could not have accomplished without bipartisan work. Of course, he talked about the infrastructure. That's probably the most important thing he's done.
And here's the thing, Jim, what Republicans are going to say about that is when the Congresswoman says, why don't people know that? Because of what they're seeing in the stores right now. They're seeing these prices that are still too high, even though the White House says, yes, they're coming down. They're not coming down fast enough.
All right, we have a lot more to get to. Fitz, you're going to hang out for a little bit longer after we wrap up the news. Final 5 coming up just after midnight, so we'll see you in just a little bit.